What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the W Sports Podcast. We are in our breakdown for week 3 of college football, but we're also going to talk a little bit of the NFL today to get you guys ready for this entire weekend. And as we record this, it is Thursday. So as we post it, guys, I hope you enjoyed the game on Thursday Night Football. Maybe we'll have a prediction. We'll see. You stick around with us. We're going to get to it. But Tubby, welcome back to the show.
What is up?
What is up, man? It looks like you're wearing a Big Baller Brand hat. Is what it almost looks like from a quick glance.
This is Backyard Breaks
I like it.
Card
Yeah, a
Company.
little shout out for Backyard Breaks, a long
Yes,
time
sir.
supporters of the show. We really like them.
Yep.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, this week we're gonna get into some of the predictions, some of the upset alerts, things like that for the NFL and for college football in today's episode. But not only that, Tubby, we got some news for the college football world. The Pac-12 announced yesterday that they're going to go ahead and merge, and they have 6 of the teams that they need now for a conference. They still need 2 more, but they announced they have 6 of those.
Yeah, you just gotta listen. I mean, we've been talking like this was going to happen, and I don't know if you saw the other news that came out just maybe about an hour and a half
I
ago,
haven't.
where they said that Cal and Stanford, if there's a possibility of a way out of the ACC, they would entertain that to go back to the Pac-12.
I think that makes sense. That makes so much sense. And
Yeah.
because that was my next question was what are the other 2 teams? Because they don't like the other teams in the Mountain
Mm-mm.
West. That's obvious. And then you're going to look
Yeah.
at teams like maybe UTSA and you're going to go into the Texas side. I don't think they want that.
Mm-mm.
But I do like the Cal Stanford coming back. It's going to be really tough to break that lease or contract.
Yeah.
But the Mountain West, Tubby, you called it from the moment it happened. They're like, it just makes sense. I think anybody who's
Yeah.
been playing the college football game has probably done that if they've recreated the Pac-12.
Yeah, no, probably. I think one interesting team that I was surprised that kind of got left out. That's been we've seen them, especially these last 2 years with Barry Odom coming there and
Mhm.
Brendan Marion running that UNLV offense.
It's very
They've
true.
really put themselves in a great position. Granted, how long those guys stay, we'll see. But I
Yeah.
think that was an interesting one. I thought that maybe got left out, but I saw something where like how they would have to break it up. And so, you got like Boise State, Colorado State, San Diego State, Oregon State,
Hmm.
Washington State, whatever. And it was like you break them up. You got the state schools, you got Washington State,
Yeah.
Oregon State, and Colorado State. They're actual
Everybody else.
states.
Yeah.
And then you got Fresno State, Boise State, and San Diego State. They're not
Hmm.
actual states, but
Yeah.
states
No.
are at the end of the end of
It
their
just
name.
it's too easy. It just makes sense. I
Yeah,
like it a lot, and that's there you go. So that is some big news. It's good
yeah.
because they have a very short window where they can still remain a conference. They still need to find these
Hmm.
other 2 teams, like you said, maybe Cal and Stanford. I think that makes sense. It makes sense even for the ACC because outside of being Auburn, I don't know that either of these 2 teams on the horizon are really bringing a whole lot to the table outside of academics in the
Yeah,
football world.
yeah. And then it does not make sense at all because like we discussed, Cal and Stanford, unless you're playing each other, your closest conference game would be SMU. Other than that, every other team is on the East
Yeah.
Coast. And it's not like, oh, they're like midway East Coast. No, they're on the East Coast.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty tough. So, well, let's look at this. We got some key matchups in the college football this weekend. It is week 3. That means you're just not quite into conference play for almost every single team. But give me a couple of the games, maybe 1 or 2 games, Tubby, that you're like, this is a key matchup, even either playoff wise or just for respect.
Yeah, I think an interesting one that probably won't show up in most box scores because they're not ranked anymore is going to be Kansas UNLV.
Bro, that was
This I
mine.
think is I
It's a
think it
great one.
has so much implication on my pick. One of my
Mhm.
picks for the playoffs. Kansas losing last week to Illinois. This now takes a big. This is a big game. We've seen UNLV's offense not miss a beat without Jaden Miava there. Brendan Marion is a name to watch. Like I said,
Mhm.
for an upcoming job, big time OC job somewheres, or potential big I guess maybe group of 5 or whatever you want to call it now,
Mhm.
uh, football head coaching job. This has a lot of implication for them, and I think the Boston College Missouri game is going to
Mhm.
be a really interesting game. The 16-point favorite or something like that from Missouri, or did it drop?
I could double check real
But
quick. Where did it go?
I don't know. I think they're yes, it is in Columbia, but I think they're giving Missouri maybe a little too much. Boston College has played really good football this year.
They really have, and I think, it's been helpful for the ACC to have a kind
Yeah,
of a positive note. Man, I cannot they must be one of the later games. I had them pulled up, and then I put it to everybody in the FBS, and there's just so many games,
yeah.
so I can't pull it up. But, I agree with both of those matchups. I think they're good. I'm gonna tell you a game not to watch. If you guys have any time at all this weekend to watch football, don't
Mm-mm.
choose to watch this game. Tubby, do you know which one I'm talking about?
I don't. Which one you talking
It's an
about?
SEC matchup, Florida versus Texas A&M. You guys go ahead and flip the channel. You don't need to worry about that one. But I would be interested to look at Oregon State versus Oregon. We've seen Oregon struggle. They went to the
Yeah.
last second last week against Boise State. Oregon State it's like a three-score game, essentially 16.5 point underdogs.
Hmm.
And if I'm Oregon State, I'm doing everything I can. I'm pulling out all the stops. To me, this game looks a lot like what Colorado State did last year. I don't
Yeah.
know that it's going to get chippy, but I think it could. It's going to be in Corvallis, so I mean that's a game I think if you're going to be, and it's not even a late game on the West Coast. It's a 2:30 game. Why not turn that one on? I think that's going to be a fun matchup to watch.
Yeah. No, that'd definitely be a great matchup. Then you kind of mentioned another one. I think a lot of people will probably tune into Colorado State.
That's true. It's always good. Colorado, do they get the win?
I'm gonna say yes, but I
All
think
right,
it's
let's
gonna
go.
be another just absolute slobber knocker between these two. You could tell they just I mean, they've been chirping all week.
They have.
They do
Yeah.
not like each other. But I'm telling you, this Colorado State team is a feisty
Hmm.
bunch. Yeah, they got blown out by
Yeah.
Texas, but we expected that.
Yeah.
Eh, But that Fowler Nicolosi is a great young quarterback.
Hmm.
Troy Horton is a great under the radar wide receiver that most people don't know about.
Yeah, no, I like both of those takes. I also love the word slobber knock. Dude, I don't think I've ever heard that, but if it came from you, Tubby, I'm on board with it now.
It's an
Um,
old wrestling term, like
Solid.
WWE wrestling. Yeah, an absolute slobber knocker.
It's that's incredible, especially under the context of how you said it. Which team? I want you to tell me which team is more likely to get upset this week. Both are ranked. One is 13, one is 16. Oklahoma State at Tulsa or LSU at South Carolina. Which one's more likely to get upset?
LSU. I don't think Tulsa has any chance against Oklahoma State. LSU, their defense doesn't look great. Their run game is not good, and somehow South Carolina has snuck out 2 wins.
I know.
And
Dominated
like,
Kentucky.
yeah, they smoked Kentucky, and then after struggling with Old Dominion the week before.
It's just so random, But
Yeah.
right now, the kings of the SEC, South Carolina, just makes sense. All right, maybe. So we've gotten over some storylines, maybe, or upset alerts, game of the weeks, things like that. If we have missed one of those, tell me what that is. But also, is there a storyline this week, Tubby, that you're looking for in the college football world?
I'm gonna go with one that you told people not to tune into this game, but I think a young quarterback that
Okay.
that he played great against. It was against Furman, but DJ Lagway is a big time quarterback, prospect in the next couple of years, and this will be his first real test against a solid Texas A&M defense. Can he show that he could be the future for Florida? Because really, this is where their next couple of years lie. If he
Hmm.
struggles, yeah, they're gonna struggle like they have, but this could be the turning point for Billy Napier in this program if he can go out there and put up some big numbers against a really good defense.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's a great take. I like it. All right. Well, if you're good with it, we're going to move over to the NFL side of things. And as we record this, the game hasn't kicked off yet. So I need you to make a quick prediction of the Dolphins Bills tonight, Thursday Night Football.
I'm going to go with the Bills. If
Bills.
it's raining as much as it is with the Dolphins, most are not playing. Looks like Achan's going to maybe try to go, but he's going to be limited
Yeah.
quite a bit. Give me Josh Allen and James White running the or White running the football like crazy.
And this is I love the take. I
I
think
mean
it's
Cook,
pretty good. James Cook, yeah.
James
But
Cook, yeah.
this is a huge game. We talked about last week with the Chiefs and the Ravens. This is a
Mm-hmm.
big game because come into the season when you get to January and February in the playoffs, Dolphins need to win this game. This is a must-win game in
Yep.
week 2 of the NFL. I think this is a great game to talk about matchup. I would also pick the Bills for the same things you said. I think injuries are kind of already there, but if the Dolphins can have a couple really big plays, they've also had a kind of a hard week media-wise. So
Yeah.
lots going on there. All right, give me maybe let's say key other matchups that you want to talk about, because as people watch this, they're gonna be like, Tubby, Jimothy, we already watched this game. Like, you're right, we did listen, but what other game are you looking forward to? I'm gonna say the Lions and the Bucks early game. It's gonna be a good one.
Yeah, no, that's one that I had up there. I'm gonna say the I think an interesting one will be the Packers Colts. They
Talk about
left
a
the
slobber knocker, bro. These two
they
QBs, come on, man.
the Packers have left the door open for Jordan Love to play this week, which is kind of crazy. And the reason why I bring this one up is that it has playoff implications for the
Mm-hmm.
Packers because what?
0-2.
Yeah, 0-2. The odds of you making the playoffs are
Mm-hmm.
drastically different. Malik Willis, if he's the starter, I expect the Packers to lose this game. I think another interesting one is going to be the Bears Texans. Can we see Caleb Williams do something?
100 yards passing, please.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah. At
starting him
least
in fantasy football. We'll talk about that later, but
at least clip 100 yards. But this is a Sunday night football game. This is a primetime game, week 2, for a starting quarterback who had 93 yards passing the week before, and sounds like he's going to be without Roman Dunzi and Keenan Allen potentially.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I'm really worried about that for Caleb Williams. And after seeing Caleb Williams where he is now and seeing the
Mm-hmm.
success, I'm going to go back a little bit to college with I think Miller Moss, right, for
Yeah.
USC. And we have on this podcast we have talked about how much we don't necessarily enjoy Lincoln Riley as a coach,
Mm-hmm.
but here's what he does that's very similar to Shanahan in San Francisco. He wants a play by the rules quarterback that goes, and
Mm-hmm.
yes, Caleb Williams, Kyler Murray both were great because they would go
Yeah.
outside the pocket and improvise. But he loves a quarterback kind of like a Brock Purdy who goes between the
Mm-hmm.
lines and gets it done. And Caleb Williams now in the NFL, it's so those windows are tighter, the speed is quicker. I think it's gonna be tough. If there's a matchup, I think honestly the biggest game this weekend has to be Chiefs Bengals. Another playoff implication. You already
Yeah.
had the Bengals clubhouse is really tough, like just a lot of friction in there. We'll put it that
Yeah.
way. And to go on the road again into Kansas City, like, do you want to play Kansas City on the road in the playoffs or not? Like, this is if you don't, you better win this game. And there's already been some questions of Joe Burrow and the wrist and all that kind of stuff. I think he's a tough quarterback. He's going to play through it, even if it was. But last year they started slow. They got back to it. He got hurt. So a lot of questions. This is the key matchup. I mean, a Chiefs fan, obviously, I'm going to circle this one, but let's go ahead and circle this one if you're watching a game this weekend.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's a big game there. The Bengals desperately need a bounce back game from Joe Burrow, from everyone. Honestly, I mean, Jamar Chase didn't look great.
Yeah.
That's factor of sitting out as long as he did. The tight ends, they dropped a couple touchdowns. Offense line didn't look great. Running game looks kind of non-existent. But I will give them somewhat of a pass. The Patriots do typically have a really good defense,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
Christian Gonzalez played out of his mind in that game. So I'll give him somewhat of a pass, but this is something that we've come to know. Joe Burrow in his career, in the first 2 weeks, he's 1-8.
Dude, it's crazy. One
Yeah.
in it, and that's he had a bad rookie year like as a team, but
Mm-hmm.
dang, dude, like that's
Yeah.
tough. Let me ask this question because if the Jets go 0-2,
Mm-hmm.
how worried should they be?
Uh, worried.
Worried,
Uh,
worried. Okay.
worried. I honestly, I don't think that they played great.
Yeah, I
Grant,
don't
they
think
were playing the 49ers, but Rodgers was making mistakes that Rodgers typically doesn't make. Like
hmm
the interception. They try to blame it on Garrett Wilson. He threw it behind Garrett Wilson. Lenore made a great play, and then later on in the game, a couple times where he threw it behind Garrett Wilson instead of in front of him, and it got knocked away. He had 2 really good passes. The one to Lazard up the numbers, and the one down the sideline, and that was really about it. He looked slow. The offensive line doesn't look good.
hmm
Granted, for them, they are playing the Titans. They should win this
They
game,
should win this
but if
game.
they
That's what I'm saying.
lose this
Panic one.
game, yeah, if you lose this game, panic sets in quite a bit.
Yeah. If Giants lose to the Commanders, will Dable still have a good job or no?
I'll say yes. I don't know if they'll
It's
fire him
not
this
looking good.
quick, but yeah, this team is just yeah. Everyone, it's almost one of those situations where you got to fire everyone
Yeah.
at this point. If you struggle as bad as you do, I mean, especially whenever you had a chance to take Jaden Daniels, and even the GM's son was smarter than the GM was, and was like, hey, go up and get them. Go up and get someone.
Yeah.
And he's like, nah, we're good.
Yeah. Are there any other storylines for the NFL that you're looking at this weekend? I know we talked about a few already, but
Yeah, I say I mean,
'cause I have
we
one
would
more.
we would talk possibly about Russ returning to Denver, but it sounds like he ain't playing.
Yeah.
So I don't really have any other ones outside of what we talked about.
I Yeah, I think we made like the over under is at 38.5. I think that's tied for the lowest this weekend for this game. It is the Patriots Seahawks, but the other one that I actually want to talk about is 38.5 is Panthers Chargers. I think there's no way this game is 17-10. I think would be phenomenal in this game. And I don't even know that that happens. This is a team that wants to control the ball, run the ball a ton in the Chargers, and a team that can't really do much in the
Yeah,
Panthers. So if this was
yeah,
10-3 final, I think that would make sense.
yeah,
That's my
probably,
storyline.
yeah.
We'll watch. So, wow. I mean, dude, we just flew through that 16 minutes. I know it's a quick episode. Don't worry, because we have another episode coming up tomorrow, and we're going to talk about some baseball stuff if you've been missing it because we've been so hard in the football season. But don't worry, we got some baseball and also fantasy football stuff. So maybe you're wondering, who do I start? Who would I bench? I'm really worried about, Wilson because this whole Aaron Rodgers situation, or you're worried about the Packers receivers because of Jordan Love. Is he playing? So stay
Mhm.
tuned tomorrow. We're going to jump into that episode. So make sure, if you have not already, subscribe to the show wherever it is that you're consuming the show, whether it's on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, maybe you're watching on YouTube, maybe you see it on Facebook or social media. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way because next month we're actually going to start our giveaways. And the only way that you can qualify, well, the first way you qualify to qualify, is going to be to subscribe. All right. So you just got to
I
do it.
mean, everyone loves free.
Free giveaways, and it's like, sports stuff. So you just stick around, be a part of it. We appreciate everyone sticking with us today. Till then, see y'all tomorrow.
See ya.
See ya.